Shalom, shalom. I want to start off this video by saying, Call Halayim Lai, Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops of GMS, Great Millstone, that rule well and teach well, where I learn is truth, the 100% truth according to the Bible. Also want to say shalom to the Lord's elect, the 144,000 men, prophet, servants scattered abroad the four winds of the earth, and shalom as well to you sincere believers out there of the 1/3 of Israel, which consists of men, women, and children that are believers scattered abroad, that believe in the testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai, which is the spirit of prophecy. Shalom. And then today's lesson is going to be titled Earthquakes, Signs of the Times, right? And I'm going to be titling today's lesson that, building off of this article that I came across here, as you can see, that was posted on the End Time headlines. And as the title reads, it says, earthquake warnings flash across 2 U.S. states as multiple quakes rock West Coast. Multiple powerful earthquakes rattled the West Coast on Wednesday morning, prompting emergency alerts across California and Oregon and raising immediate concerns among coastal communities. According to a report from the Daily Mail, the series of tremors activated the USGS's Shake Alert system, sending warnings to thousands of phones as seismic activity intensified in a highly volatile region. The first quake, a magnitude of 5.7 event, struck in the Pacific Ocean around 6:53 a.m. Eastern Time, with its epicenter located approximately 100 miles from shore. Residents from Eureka, California to Reedsport, Oregon, spanning roughly 240 miles, reported feeling the shaking. This was followed by a magnitude 5.1 tremor at 8:45 a.m., right? Centered just 55 miles from Eureka, and a third magnitude 4.5 quake in the same location 26 minutes later. The California's governor's Office of Emergency Services issued direct warning: earthquakes are unpredictable, so be prepared for aftershocks. Drop cover, hold on. USGS officials confirmed no tsunami alerts were necessary despite the proximity to the coast. Authorities noted the heightened risk, with USGS is estimating nearly a 60% chance of another quake, stronger than magnitude of 3.0 in the area within the next 24 hours. The event centered near Eureka, one of the most seismically active zones in the continental of the United States, situated at the Mendocino Triple Junction, where 3 major tectonic plates converge. This volatile spot lies close to the Cascadia subduction zone, a massive fault long feared for its potential to produce a catastrophic big one. While Wednesday quakes caused no immediate reports of major damage or injuries, they served as a stark reminder of the region's underlying seismic threats. Residents were urged to remain vigilant amid ongoing monitoring, right? So as I just read from the article, which it was a quick article, this is what you have going on in California, stretching all the way to Oregon. You got these earthquakes that are happening, right? And most people, they'll see these things and think in their mind that, earthquakes always occur and things like this always happen. But no, all of these things are happening because these are the signs and tokens of us being at the end of this age, being at the end of the so-called white man's kingdom, right? Esau, Edom, who's in power, as it tells you in Job 9:24, man, that the earth is given over into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. So where and who is he, right? And we know that to be the so-called white man, right? And the reason we know that we're at the end of his kingdom, right, and these are the signs, is because our Lord Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, he gave us the signs, right, as it tells you in Matthew the 24th chapter. And as the heading reads, it says the signs of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai's return, right? So this is Matthew 24, and I start at verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world, right? And when you go into that word world in the Greek, it goes into aeon, which is going into an age or a period of time, which we're coming into the end of the age of the wicked, right? The so-called white man, Esau, Edom, he's the one that's in rulership, and we're coming to the end of this man ruling things here in the earth. That's why you see all of these various things happening, from these wars that are going on, these earthquakes. All of these things are all indicators that this man's time is over, right? As it tells us in 2nd Esdras chapter 6, which I'll bring that out. So bear with me while I grab that. Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? Verse 8, and he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world, right, this age, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And that's exactly what we're watching play out here now, man, right? We're watching Esau's kingdom come to an end in front of our eyes, you know. So I'm going to get back into the book of Matthew, chapter 24. And I started verse 4, and Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars, right? And don't you see all of these things happening throughout the planet Earth, right? You got wars that are actively going on. You got the conflict between Russia, Ukraine, that's constantly escalating, right? You just had Russia not too long ago attack a NATO nation. You got the conflict going on over there in Western Asia, the so-called Middle East, between, you know, America, Iran, and Israel. That's constantly escalating. So we see all these things going on, man. Wars, rumors of wars, which goes into talks, you know, China, Taiwan, North Korea, South Korea. So, I mean, the signs are there, man. We see all of these things happening, you know. But it says, and you shall hear wars and rumors of wars, see that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet, right? And why is the end not yet? Because there's still major prophecies that has to play out first before ultimately the destruction can happen, right? The complete destruction, which is going to ultimately happen by the way of those thermonuclear missiles. You see, because those ICBMs that are going to be launched off in World War III, they won't be shot off until, you know, ultimately the RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast, a major prophecy that has to come to pass first, and Jacob's trouble has to fully intensify, you see, before, you know, ultimately the Lord can come back, you know, and these missiles get used, right? So there's things that still got to happen first before the destruction, right? That's why it tells you in the book of Second Ezra chapter 4, right? And I'll go down to verse 37. And it said, by measure have he measured the times, and by number have he numbered the times, and he doth not move nor stir them until the said measure be fulfilled. So that means, everything is all going to play out according to how the Lord set it up, right? Nothing is going to overlap anything. Everything is all going to play out according to prophecy, man, right? So I'm going to get back into it. This is verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there should be famines, right? Which you hear them talking about. Famines coming down the pipeline, which it is coming, right? And pestilences, right? You've been having that going on heavily, man. All of these different diseases and, you know, plagues that have been spreading throughout the world. You know, you got the Ebola that they're talking about. You got the Hana virus. I mean, all type of things, man. We can go on for hours, right? But we see all of these things happening, man, right? It says, and earthquakes, right, in diverse places, which you have earthquakes going on all throughout the planet Earth, man. Here in America, all over there in these other different countries, they're being bombarded by these earthquakes. All of these things are going on, man, right? And matter of fact, I'm actually, just for edification's sake, I'm going to type in, yep, how many earthquakes happened, right? How many earthquakes happened in 24 hours, right? And I'm curious to see what pops up, right? So bear with me. Right, let's see if it pops up. Right, Salakia. Right? And it tells you, it said in the past 24 hours, there have been worldwide 1,395 quakes of magnitudes up to 5.7. So you'd have had, just in 24 hours, man, almost 1,400 earthquakes, right? In various different places, all over the earth, in different regions, different areas, right? All over, right? So we see these things happening, man, right? So I'm going to go to the book of Second Ezra, chapter 9, and I'll start at verse 1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, right? And how do you measure the time diligently? By looking at the prophecies, looking at what the scriptures say, aligning it with what you see happening in the earth, right? And we see that everything our Lord Yahushua said will be happening. We see these things occurring, man, right? It says, He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest parts of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it's the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there should be seen earthquakes, right, and uproars of the people in the world, all of these things are happening, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days told before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Yeah, we're at the end of Esau's age, man, right? The time of this devil, starting off with their elites, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Gettys, ruling things here on the planet Earth, is coming to an end. And that's what we're watching play out here, man, right? In real time. But this is verse 6 as well. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs, man. And we see those signs happening all over the earth, man, right? All of the, activity you've been having going on, far as with things occurring in the sky, the lunar eclipses, blood moons and all these things that have been happening in the last few months, few years. All of these things are the signs, man, right? That, hey, we're living at the end of this man's kingdom, right? So with that being said, Lord's willing, I pray this video be edifying. I'm not going to make it long, just a quick hit through the spirit, building off of that article I brought out. So Yahweh Tazai is edifying to you brothers and you sisters out there that may come across it. With that being said, we're going to end it giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah HaKodash. Till the next time, Kwam Yasharala, and Shalom to the Lord's elect. Shalom.